You've been lied to your entire life. They told you respect comes from being kind, from being fair, from putting others first. So you did. You worked hard. You played by the rules. You swallowed your pride. And what did it get you? Ignored, overlooked, taken for granted. While the ruthless rise, while the cunning manipulate, while the feared command loyalty without question, you remain stuck, wondering why no one truly respects you. What do they know that you don't? 500 years ago, a man exiled, tortured, and betrayed by the very leaders he served uncovered the answer. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli, and his words were so dangerous they were banned, burned, and condemned as evil. Because he revealed the truth. Respect is not earned through virtue. It is seized through power. This is not about being cruel. This is not about being a tyrant. This is about understanding the unspoken rules of human nature. Why people obey some and dismiss others. Why fear is more reliable than love. And why the world rewards those who master the balance between the two. By the time this ends, you will never see authority, influence, or respect the same way again. The question is, do you have the courage to learn? Florence, 1513. A broken man sits in exile, scratching ink onto parchment by candlelight. His name is Niccolo Machiavelli, and he has just witnessed everything he believed in crumble. The Medici family has retaken power. The republic he served has fallen. His own body still bears the marks of torture from his interrogators. And now, stripped of position and prestige, he begins writing a book so dangerous it will make his name synonymous with deception for centuries to come. This was not a theoretical exercise. Machiavelli wrote The Prince from first-hand experience. Years spent navigating the cutthroat politics of Renaissance Italy, where assassination was policy and betrayal was routine. He had seen popes wage war, watched idealistic leaders destroyed by their own virtue, and observed how true power actually worked behind the velvet curtains of palaces. The shocking truth he uncovered? For 2,000 years, from ancient Rome to his present day, all successful rulers followed the same hidden principles. These weren't the noble virtues preached by philosophers. They were the brutal realities practiced in shadow. The Catholic Church called his work the Devil's Gospel. Kings banned its publication. Yet secretly, every ambitious leader from Elizabeth I to Napoleon studied it, because Machiavelli had done the unthinkable. He removed morality from the equation and revealed power in its purest form. Why does this matter today? We like to believe we've evolved beyond such ruthless thinking. But human nature hasn't changed. The boardrooms, political arenas, and social hierarchies of our world still operate on these same timeless principles. Machiavelli's genius was recognizing that respect and authority don't come from who you are, but from how you're perceived. And that perception must be carefully, deliberately crafted. This is where most people fail. They assume good work speaks for itself, that fairness will be rewarded, that people will recognize their value without being shown. Machiavelli knew better. He understood the uncomfortable truth. Respect goes not to the most deserving, but to those who understand how to claim it. I'll expose the first of these forbidden principles. The delicate balance between fear and love that has shaped empires and can transform your influence overnight. But first ask yourself, are you still clinging to comfortable lies about how the world works? Or are you ready to see what really moves the levers of power? In 1502, Cesare Borgia staged a chilling lesson in power by inviting his corrupt lieutenant to a lavish dinner before executing him publicly. This calculated act revealed Machiavelli's core insight. True authority emerges from balancing fear and admiration. The dinner offered mercy. The execution delivered justice, together creating unshakable power that neither approach could achieve alone. Machiavelli's principle that it's better to be feared than loved is often misunderstood. Modern psychology confirms his deeper truth. Respect flows from strategically alternating between warmth and strength. Like teachers who inspire through high standards paired with genuine care, or CEOs who drive performance through both challenge and recognition. Effective leaders master this duality. This wisdom extends beyond personal interactions to the theater of leadership itself. Machiavelli realized power resides not in who you are, but in what others believe you to be. From Renaissance princes to modern executives, the most effective leaders carefully craft how they are perceived, stage-defining moments, and maintain impeccable consistency in their public image. Yet, the final revelation is the most profound. These techniques are merely tools. Lasting respect requires anchoring power to purpose. Leaders who wield influence solely for personal gain eventually self-destruct, while those who channel it toward meaningful vision build enduring legacies. The true mastery lies not in the performance of power, but in becoming worthy of the respect you command. Milan, 2023. A young tech founder paces backstage at a major industry conference, preparing to face potential investors who could determine her startup's fate. In this pivotal moment, she embodies what Machiavelli understood centuries ago, that leadership is performance and power is perception. She steps into the spotlight not as an uncertain entrepreneur, but as the visionary leader her company needs, demonstrating how ancient principles of influence remain startlingly relevant in our digital age. The true modern Machiavellian moves through the world with deliberate artistry, understanding that presence must be carefully curated rather than left to chance. They recognize that strategic absence often speaks louder than constant availability, that selective silence carries more weight than endless chatter. In boardrooms and virtual meetings alike, they measure their words like Renaissance diplomats, ensuring each intervention lands with precision rather than drowning in a sea of opinions. Master practitioners cultivate what might be called calculated spontaneity, those perfectly timed moments that become legend in an organization's culture. The unexpected public recognition of a junior employee's contribution, the dramatic walkout from an unfair negotiation, the surprising concession that disarms opponents. These aren't random acts, but carefully staged demonstrations of leadership that linger in collective memory long after the moment passes. The psychological landscape of influence demands what modern researchers call emotional ambivalence, the ability to inspire both admiration and a healthy wariness. Like the Renaissance prince who balanced lavish festivals with swift justice, today's effective leaders mix warmth with unshakable standards. They understand that pure predictability breeds contempt, while total inconsistency creates chaos. The art lies in knowing precisely when to defy expectations. The normally cautious executive greenlighting a bold idea, the typically accommodating manager making one uncompromising stand. In our hyper-connected world, narrative control becomes paramount. The modern Machiavellian knows that every career contains setbacks, but shapes how those moments are framed. A missed promotion transforms into strategic positioning. A failed venture becomes invaluable lessons learned. This isn't deception, but the recognition that in an era of perpetual perception, the meaning of events is as important as the events themselves. Physical presence remains a powerful tool in our supposedly virtual age. The subtle deepening of one's vocal tone during crucial negotiations, the strategic pause before answering challenging questions, the conscious modulation between approachability and formality depending on circumstance. These are the modern equivalents of the Renaissance prince's courtly rituals, nonverbal cues that establish hierarchy without explicit demand. The digital realm serves as today's public square, where reputations are forged and broken. Social media profiles become carefully curated exhibitions of power, displaying just enough vulnerability to humanize, but never enough to undermine. Professional networks transform into virtual courts where influence is measured in strategic connections rather than raw numbers. Every post, like, and comment serves a deliberate purpose in the larger performance of leadership. Yet the true test of these principles comes not in their implementation, but in their consistent application over time. Respect accrues through countless small demonstrations of competence, judgment, and presence. It grows from the understanding that in an age of constant visibility, every interaction contributes to the larger narrative of one's authority. The modern Machiavellian moves through the world knowing that power ultimately resides not in what you are, but in what others believe you to be, and that this perception must be tended as carefully as any other critical resource. Florence, 1527. An aging Machiavelli, now forgotten by the powerful men he once advised, watches from the shadows as his beloved republic falls once more. In his final days, he writes a letter containing a warning history would overlook. Power without purpose is the most dangerous illusion of all. This is the paradox modern seekers of respect must confront. The strategies we've examined, the performance of power, the balance of fear and admiration, the mastery of perception, are indeed effective. But they carry a hidden cost that Machiavelli himself discovered too late. True respect endures only when anchored to something greater than oneself. The executives who climb corporate ladders through pure calculation often find themselves isolated at the top. The leaders who master manipulation without purpose eventually manipulate themselves into irrelevance. The influencers who craft perfect images frequently lose touch with reality itself. Consider two contrasting figures from modern business. The CEO, who uses Machiavellian tactics solely for personal gain, eventually faces rebellion or emptiness. But the leader who harnesses these principles to drive meaningful innovation, to protect their team's interests, or to achieve a vision larger than themselves, they build legacies. Machiavelli's tragedy was that after revealing how power works, he never regained his own. His writings were studied by kings while he died in obscurity. The lesson? Technique alone is never enough. As you apply these strategies in your own life, ask yourself, what worthy ends justify these means? Who benefits from the respect I cultivate? What will remain when the performance ends? The darkest secret Machiavelli never put to paper may be this: the most powerful leaders are those who convince even themselves of their higher purpose, not as deception, but as necessity. Because respect that doesn't serve something beyond oneself eventually consumes its host. So, wield these tools, but choose your cause wisely. Build your reputation, but remember why. Command respect, but stay human enough to deserve it. For in the end, the measure of a leader isn't whether they were feared or loved, but whether what they built endured after their performance faded to black.